agree. I would agree. I think we're going to see a huge change at the ballot box in November. You ready for that?
Yeah.
Oh, I think we're all ready for that. We are ready to roll. That's part of the reason why yesterday we launched the Tea Party Caucus. I don't know if any of you heard about this or not, but we launched it yesterday, and it came out of a few reasons. Number one, I think this is an organization, and it's very loose, it's very spontaneous, it's amorphous, it really can't even be defined, but I think it's credible. I think it's a very credible organization, and I am really tired of seeing how they have been smeared viciously over the last few months, and in particular last week, when all of the charges came out about racism once again, with no proof. There is no proof anywhere that anyone can find that this is a racist organization, that their ideals or statements or leaders are racist. And yet last week one of my colleagues, Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, came out and said to the NAACP, this was a very underreported story by the mainstream media, which is no shock to you, I'm sure, but she said that now we know who these people are. A long time ago, they were the people wearing sheets. And now they're walking down the aisle calling themselves Tea Party patriots. So equating mainstream Americans who've had the verve to get off the couch, come to Washington, D.C. by the hundreds of thousands, attend local town hall meetings, call their senators, email their senators, call and email their representatives, and they're equated with the KKK? And that isn't a smear? And that isn't racist? Think of that. Think of that statement. And the mainstream media acts as though Sheila Jackson Lee didn't say anything worth reporting. Can you imagine if I said something that inflammatory about President Obama? I would not be able to survive a re-election if I said something like that. But the other story that just came out this week are the emails between the journalists. Have you heard about this story? This is journalists in the last presidential election, academics, opinion makers who were on a chat room together. These are mainstream, big-name people all talking together in a cabal about how the objective journalists, how they're going to destroy Sarah Palin and bring down the ticket last year, what their points of attack would be. They all got on the same page. So you want to talk about pulling the lid off and exposing what's going on. Now we all know. We've all suspected media bias. Now we know it was more than bias. It was collusion going on. Well, in the midst of all that was happening with vilifying mainstream Americans, last week I thought that it was high time that we do something to give them credibility. And this is something that we could do, because we have never seen another movement like this in modern times. I filed paperwork last Friday to start the Tea Party Caucus. It was approved on Monday by Chairman Brady. It was record time. The very first person that I wrote a letter to invite to become a part of the Tea Party Caucus was Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Now, I haven't heard back from her yet. I'm still checking my mailbox. But I've been inviting Democrats to join, because the whole purpose is not to co-opt the Tea Party. It's not to have Congress be the mouthpiece or direct the Tea Party from D.C. or vouch for the Tea Party or billboards or signs or movements or anything like that. What we've heard more than anything from people this last year is that Congress isn't listening to them. And that's the purpose of this caucus. So imagine this. We were able to actually form on Monday. I put the call out to members on Tuesday. We held our first meeting yesterday morning at 9 a.m. 24 members of Congress showed up. This is like impossible. You never get that many members of Congress to show up for anything. And as of last night, about, I would say 7 o'clock, we had 37 members that had joined in about 24 hours' time. And there's more coming, and I really believe that we'll get Democrats to join too. Because again, we're not here to be the Tea Party. We're here to listen to the Tea Party. So we brought in 12 people. 12 people contacted us. And it was almost like out of central casting. I couldn't have dreamed this up. So here we had a hearing room, and the 24 members of Congress sat in chairs like people coming in listening would do, and we had the people sit where members of Congress would sit. up in the chairs in the hearing room. So the real people with real ideas or something to say sat up in the hearing chairs, and we listened to them. This is who came. An African-American woman with her little baby who has served us in the United States military, extremely articulate. She came because she wanted us to know that the Tea Party is not racist, and she felt that her face would best be able to deliver that message. Another gorgeous African-American woman from Dallas, Texas, flew in specifically to tell us that in the Tea Party they are not racist in Dallas. Then we had a Hispanic gentleman who immigrated to this country from Colombia, and he wanted us to know that what he is seeing, and legally, by the way, he immigrated, he started his own construction company, he had 10 employees, now he's down to 6. He went to his job site at 5 o'clock yesterday morning, then got in his pickup truck with his wife and came here to talk to us in the Tea Party caucus to tell us this is what he saw in Colombia. First, the government in Colombia offered loans to private businesses. Then they changed the regulations so that it made it impossible for private businesses to turn a profit. Then the government came in and took over to help bail out those private businesses. Well, guess what? The government never gave them back. He said that what is happening in the United States is exactly what happened with the thugs that took over in Colombia. He said, America, don't go down this road. 24 members of Congress yesterday were on their feet whooping and hollering and clapping and applauding the real people that came to speak to us, telling us, don't allow our great country to be taken away from us. They were absolutely eloquent. And so to that end, not everybody can come to Washington, D.C. One woman, 30 years of age, an actress from Seattle, Washington. Seattle is not South Carolina, politically. Put it that way, mildly. It's a very liberal area. She came, she had barbed wire tattooed on her arm, and she had tattoos all over. And she came over and she said, I'm 30 years old. I'm the younger generation. I see what you guys are doing to me. With all the spending and taxing, you're putting me in bondage and my generation. Stop spending this money. Stop making me pay your debts for you. On it went. This is just the opening salvo of people who came to speak to members of Congress. So what we're envisioning is I've asked speakers to allow us to use Skype. Now, you're all young, hip with it. You know what Skype is. It's a free internet service where you can speak to anyone, and it's free video conferencing, and you can speak to anyone across the country. I've done it many times in this building, but on the campaign side, where I'll speak to a gym full of people about a topic, and it works great. We'd like to do that, open the doors to the American people across the country so that they can speak to us in real time about these issues. And really the banner of commonality of agreement are 3 things. 1, we're taxed enough already. No more taxes and no more tax increases. Number 2, stop spending more money than what you're taking in. Get the spending under control. And number 3, Congress needs to act within the constitutional limitations and framework given to us by our founding fathers. That sounds like a pretty good agenda to me. That is the Tea Party caucus. So we're not the mouthpiece, we're the earpiece. We're here to listen. And I am really excited about it taking off because that's what we should be doing.